there will be some extra credit problems, kind of challenge problems. Part of them will be extra credit. Part of them will be able to help you get from 95 to 100. So there are important problems for those that really want to do well and push themselves. And so they're going to be no calculator, and they're going to be by hand, like they'll be in OneNote, because you can always just use your calculator and put in an answer in Delta Math. So you're going to have to show your work. And I'm going to show you the kind of problems you can expect to see and how you would show your work. In this particular problem, we're looking at the limit as x approaches infinity. So we're going to be thinking again about the largest exponents. And so in this case, we'll be looking at these terms, but we also have to recognize that there is the square root. And so what I'm really looking at is the limit as x approaches infinity of the square root of 25x to the fourth over 8x squared. We've ignored everything that's not the biggest term. Well, the square root of 25 is 5, and the square root of x to the fourth is x squared. The x squareds will cancel out, and my answer will be 5 over 8. Okay, now let's look at this one here. In this case, we're looking at negative infinity, so everything's going to be the same, except we're going to be plugging in a big negative number. And so when I plug in a big negative number here, and I take it to the fourth power, it's going to remain positive. And I can take the square root of a positive number, so I'm still going to get 5x squared over 8x squared, which would be 5/8. But let's think about this differently. Let's say this problem was the third power. Let's say that's the third power, and in the denominator we had 8x to the 1 or something. 8x to the 1. So the things we'd be looking at are this term right here and this term right here. So we'd be looking at the limit as x approaches negative infinity of the square root of 25, well that's going to be 5, and the square root of x cubed all over 8x. Well, this is going to give me 5, but when I plug a big negative number in and I cube it, it stays negative. And I cannot take the square root of a negative number. And so this part of the limit blows up because the function isn't defined. If you were to graph this on Desmos, there would be nothing over here in the negative numbers because I can't put a negative number in for x cubed and then still take the square root of it. So in this new problem that we made up, the limit would be does not exist because I cannot take the square root of a negative number. And so that means there's no function over here. This is not in the domain, and therefore I don't have a limit.